Hello students, Sudhir Pandey again welcomes to all of you. Today we'll discuss in this video about the electric potential energy stored in a charged capacitor. Okay, when we give the charge to any capacitor, this amount of work done always stored as a potential energy in the form of the electrical energy between the plates always. Suppose at any instant the potential of the potential difference between the plates is given by Q dash upon C. Is it clear? Now if we give some more amount of the charge, that is a small amount of the charge, it will raise negligible amount. If the Q dash is a very small, if you are giving the charge very small, in that case V dash will be changed negligible. So we know from the formula that is the W upon Q is equal to V. So from this formula the total work done is equal to potential difference, that is the V dash. Okay, W is equal to V dash into dQ. Okay, this is the small work done in giving the small amount of the charge to the plates of the capacitor. Now put the value of the V dash here. It is the Q dash upon C dQ. This is the small work done. Now to find the total work done from 0 to Q charge. Okay, so take the integration of both sides and take this value from 0 to Q. So this is the work done which is always equal to the potential energy. Now put the constant outside 1 upon C. So it is the Q dash dQ and 1 upon C. Now the integration of this, its limit is 0 to Q charge. Okay, so it is the Q dash square upon 2. Okay, or we can write half Q dash square upon C. Okay, so this is the potential energy stored as in the form of the electrical energy between the plates of the capacitor. Now we can find some different form if we put the Q is equal to CV, but before that put the limits also 0 to Q. So this formula will find U is equal to half Q square upon C. First put Q dash is equal to Q, then like this. So 1 upon C, Q dash means Q square upon 2 minus 0 upon 2, upper limit minus lower limit. So we'll find this formula. Now see some more form of this formula. If you put Q is equal to CV, so write Q is equal to CV square upon C. So we find half, 1 C is cancelled, so half CV square. This is the most popular formula of the potential energy of the capacitor. See the another formula we know from the formula Q is equal to CV or C is equal to Q upon V. If we put here in this formula half, in C means Q upon V, like this, V square. So 1 V is cancelled. So we write the formula half QV. This is the another form of the potential energy. Okay, now it means we have to remember potential energy of the capacitor is given by half Q square upon C is equal to half CV square is equal to half QV. Okay, remember this formula. Okay, now just for your extra knowledge, you know the electrical energy W upon Q is equal to V or W is equal to QV. Okay, this is the electrical energy provided to the capacitors for charging. It means only the half amount of the energy is utilized to store as a potential energy between the plates, and the half of the portion of this value, 50% of this value, is always wasted, always utilized. Wasted you can say in the form of the heat and the sound, etc. So it is about the electrical potential energy stored in a charged capacitor. Okay, now see the another suppose this energy is stored in the series and the parallel combination. We are taking the two cases of this energy. Case first, suppose we are taking in series combination. In series combination, we know in series combination, because the Q is always constant, so U is equal to Q square 2C, or we can write Q square upon 2 and 1 upon C. 1 upon C means 1 upon C1 plus 1 upon C2 plus 1 upon C3. Suppose some capacitors are connected in series. So in that case, we find here Q square upon 2C1 plus Q square upon 2C2 plus Q square upon 2C3, like this. It means it is equal to U1 plus U2 plus U3. Okay, like this. Okay, suppose n capacitors are there, so up to n you can write. So the total potential energy of all the capacitors which are connected in series combination is always equal to the sum of all the potential energies of individual capacitors. Now see the second case. Case second, when the capacitors are connected in parallel combination. Okay, in parallel combination. So in that case, what will happen? Just see again, because in parallel combination we can use the formula half CV square. You should think why we are using this formula in parallel combination, not this one, because in parallel combination potential difference is always constant. So use this formula because it means the potential difference, that is the potential energy, will depend only on the capacitance. Take the V constant. Okay, so using this formula, so it is the half, and instead of C, suppose the different capacitors are of different capacitances are connected in parallel, so C1 plus C2 plus C3. In parallel combination, you know C is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3, etc. Suppose there are n capacitors, so we can write like this. Okay, put the C is equal to this one. So you can write half C1 V square plus half C2 V2 square, only the V, plus half C3 V square, like this, or half Cn, suppose n capacitor are there, V square. So simply we can write half, or simply write U1 plus U2 plus U3 up to Un. Okay, so the total potential energy of all the capacitors which are connected in parallel combination is always equal to the sum of the individual potential energy of individual capacitors. Okay, so this is the conclusion from these two formula. Just try to understand. Now one more interesting thing about the energy we can discuss, which is the energy density in capacitors. See what is the energy density. Okay, next topic, energy density of capacitors or in capacitors, same thing. Okay, density means it is that energy per unit volume, like the simple density, you know, mass upon volume. Here the energy density means that is the energy per unit volume. So is in charged capacitor, electrical energy is stored in the electric field between the plates. So energy stored per unit volume in electric field is known as energy density. Now how can we find the formula, especially for this? We know the formula of the capacitance. It is the C is equal to A epsilon naught upon D. Okay, I think we know very well this formula. So using the potential energy formula, half CV square, put here C is equal to A epsilon naught upon D V square. Since we know E is equal to V upon D, we know very well this formula. So from here we can write V is equal to E into D. Is it clear? I think No confusion should be here. So put here V is equal to ED in this formula. So U is equal to half A epsilon naught upon D, and V square means it is the ED square. Okay, put V is equal to ED. So now simplify it. A epsilon naught upon D, E square, D square. So 1D is cancelled. So it becomes half A epsilon naught E square into D. We can write like this also. It is the half epsilon naught E square A D. I think it is clear. And what is the AD is here? AD means it is the area into thickness or area into distance between the plates. This is the D, na? This is the D, separation. So this is the area of the plate, So area into the thickness or the separation. So what is this? It is the volume. So U upon AD, it is the energy density. It is known as the energy density. So energy density, this is the formula. So energy density, just divide this value. So it is half epsilon naught E square. So this is the formula of energy density. I think there is no doubt. It's very simple, and we can find one conclusion from here, like U, that is the small u. I am taking the energy density small u. Small u is equal to, which is half epsilon naught E square. From here you can see that the U is directly proportional to the E square. Okay, U square, E square. So if we draw a graph between the energy density per volume and the energy density per unit volume and the electric field intensity and the electric field density, like here. So we'll find the curve like this. Okay, so this is the energy density of capacitor. Okay, now come to the next topic of this chapter. Again, a very interesting topic. We'll discuss about the dielectrics. First of all, you should know what is the dielectric. Actually, every dielectric is basically insulator. So we can say the dielectrics is an insulating material in which all the electrons are tightly bound to the nuclei of the atoms, and no free electrons are available for the conduction of the current. For example, if we take the examples are like the glass, mica, plastic, oil, rubber, other examples, wood, okay, etc. All these are the examples of the dielectrics, and then already we have discussed we can place these dielectrics in a between the plates of a capacitor always, and it has a specific constant value which is known as the dielectric constant, capital K. Now the dielectrics are of two types. Remember again, it is of two types. First is the polar. It is the polar dielectric molecules, we can say polar dielectric molecules, and second is the non-polar dielectric molecules. Okay, now we'll discuss these two types of the molecules, polar and the non-polar. Okay, so first of all, see what is the polar. Polar means having some polarity. Having some polarity means कि suppose see the basic of the atom. This is the positive and this is the negative. Why it is the positive? Only due to the presence of the protons in the nucleus. And why this portion? Why this portion is due to the electrons. Due to the electrons, negative electrons, negativity is there. So if the center of gravity of the protons, that is the positive side, if the center of gravity of the positive protons coincides with the center of gravity of the negative electrons, then it is no polar. Polar means the having the polarity. So if they do not coincide, so suppose the positive, this is due to the positive, and suppose this is due to the this is due to the negative. Okay, if these 2 points are not coinciding, it means it is the polar dielectric. Okay, so simple definition you can say, and you should learn, the molecule in which the center of gravity of the positive charge that is the protons does not coincide with the center of gravity of the negative charge, that is the electrons, and these two center of gravity are separated from each other by a finite distance. Okay, so we can say it is the polar dielectrics, polar dielectric molecules. And the example, a very interesting example you can take, like the I am taking the example, suppose it is the HCl. Okay, HCl, another example CO, another example is H2O, another example is NH3, another example is SO2, etc. All these are the examples. Okay, it means the positive H is separated by the negative Cl, like this. Okay, they are separated by a small distance, like C and O also. Okay, so they are not coinciding, their centers, these are the, suppose one center and this is the second center, they are not coinciding exactly, they are separated by a finite distance. So these are the polar dielectrics. And if it is not so, in that case these are the non-polar. So non-polar means the molecules in which the center of gravity of the positive charges of protons coincides. Okay, so positive is coincide with the negative. Okay, both center of gravities of negative due to the electrons and due to the protons are coinciding. It means there is no finite distance, like we had discussed in the polar dielectric. So there is no finite distance, it means that both are coinciding. In that case, these type of molecules are called the non-polar dielectric molecules. Now the examples are N2, yes, N2, H2, O2, CO2. Okay, all these are the examples. So what is the special in the non-polar dielectric molecules? Actually, in non-polar dielectric molecules, the resultant dipole moment is always zero. So resultant dipole moment is always equal to 0. And here what happens? The resultant dipole moment is not equal to 0, and here resultant P is always equal to 0. Remember, this is the main difference between the polar dielectric molecules and the non-polar dielectric molecules. So thank you, students. In next video we'll discuss some more points about the parallel capacitors.